Who are you? Good morning everyone! Today it's Polestar 3 time. This is the all-wheel drive version. In this car, in the Polestar 3, which is so different than the Polestar 4 that we drove yesterday, we have a 111 kilowatt hour battery, 104 kilowatt hours can be used. This is the all-wheel drive version with 380 kilowatt, where the Polestar 4 yesterday had 400, 200 in the front, 200 in the rear. Here it's different. If you get the rear-wheel drive version, you get 220. So completely different motor, completely different battery. We're going to drive this car a bit. WLTP range can go up to around 650 kilometers for the rear wheel drive. What's special about this car is that the rear motor can be turned off completely, that only the front motor is doing something if you are in range mode. As the Polestar 4, you have a performance mode. And by the way, I've found out today that if you use cruise control, automatically range mode is on and the performance mode is off. So if you're on a highway, you drive with a bit of power, have it in performance mode, go cruise control on, then you're immediately in range mode and you have to turn it off again if you want power. But gonna look at the car a bit, look at the space. I sat in it a year ago and it has the most comfortable seats ever. I want to see if that's still the case. And then we're gonna drive country road, test cruise control, go on a highway, drive top speed and everything. It should be amazing in corners, but I'm not an incredible corner driver, so I'm not a sporty driver. I wouldn't feel it. I don't think so. The car can charge at a supercharger with 250 kilowatt because we have a 400 volt system, but all hyperchargers in the CCS standard is limited to 500 amp, and so you most likely get only 190 depending on the voltage of the battery. I have to test when I get a test car vehicle at some point. Maybe 200 kilowatt, the 215 on Ionity and stuff, hyperchargers. But Tesla superchargers also nice to give you a bit more than 500 amp for a short time. So you can get the 250 kilowatt, which is cool. AC is still 11 kilowatt. Polestar typical, the car looks amazing. It's the front design is very EX30, or maybe it's the other way around, that the EX30 is more like the Polestar. It looks very sleek. You can see it's an SUV, but they kept it pretty low, so it's not a gigantic SUV as you see on some cars. We have gigantic wheels on there. I'm sure the 22 inch, oh my god, 22 inch wheels. The color is nice. They've done really well. It's a nice form, it's a good looking car and doesn't look gigantic. I love that. The trunk, what we have here, what we didn't have in the Polestar 4, is a locking button as well. The Polestar 4 has the walk away and the car locks itself function. And the trunk is really good space. We have a second floor that, oh my god, it's gigantic down there. Awesome. Trunk gets a good grade. And we have the door handles that pop out, but more up, not out like in the Polestar 4 that was very Tesla-like, Model S. This is more just up. Frunk! Good size even for an all-wheel drive car. On the back seats of the Polestar 3, I have a lot of legroom, I have a lot of headroom. Space is no problem at all. We have gigantic window openers for whatever reason. I have a little display here in front for my seat heating, my temperature in the rear, 2 air vents, and I think an extra air vent here, but you cannot adjust it. Light on the side, with what you have to do with a panoramic roof. We have a nice armrest here with cup holders, 2 USB-Cs. This is a nice environment, and there are nice seats. The rear seats, as usual, have a bit less side support as the front seats. That's totally normal. The seat is on my position, 180 centimeters, 6 feet tall. I still can put my feet underneath even though the seat is on the bottom, and I have all the space in the world. It's nice in here. On the front seats we have similar steering wheel but still different. We have the haptic feedback buttons and we have up and down, left and right. but it looks different. But the stalks for the gear change and the wipers is the same as in Polestar 4 and the Volvo EX30. Nice air vents. Our display is now portrait mode, not landscape. We have wireless charging here, and this is also used if you don't get the key, if you only use the key card. This is where the key card has to go so you can drive. We have 2 USB-Cs here in the front, and I'm guessing here in this department. There's something else? No, we don't. 2 cup holders here, and we have the same volume and pause, play pause button. It's a nice environment, and a lock button on both sides. This is also very Volvo typical and Polestar, that you can lock the car as a passenger as well. I love the seats. They're really good seats. They're nice and comfy. They're not too soft, not too hard. I like those seats. Oh. This is exactly my thing. Let's look at the infotainment system. Like I said, now you have portrait mode, not landscape. It's very similar to the Polestar 2, but it's a bigger screen. And you have your shortcuts down here. Like here you can get into your drive data. And now we have 3 trips. In the Polestar 4, Polestar 2, we only have 2. We have from start, since charging, and since last reset, which is awesome. I like that. You have all of your apps here: Spotify, Tidal, YouTube Music, a better route planner is on here, Google Maps, of course, YouTube, then your camera. They can be in 3D, or you want to see the rear and the front. You can do all of this, all of your settings. Still, as with Polestar 4, if you want to adjust the mirrors or what happened? The mirrors or something like this, you have to go into, where did it all go? And let it stay there. And then you can, it goes away. That the software is not perfect yet, but you adjust your mirrors and your steering wheel with the buttons on the steering wheel themselves. Again, as in the Polestar 4, the whole mirror moves, not just the glass, because it's a frameless mirrors. All of your systems here, driving, and when you're out there, outside here, there's even, I thought there was a shortcut. I'm pretty sure you can change those. In driving here, you have your rain sensor, your glove box, trunk opening. Here is the settings for adjusting. And then when you go into driving, you have lane keep assist down here. Where's driving? Driving, you have a suspension, and it adjusts the height too. So standard, agile, or hard. One pedal drive can be off, a bit, or standard. Steering the same, light, standard, or heavy. And ooh, here we go up even more if you have to do something special, which is awesome. But I want to be in agile. Then we have creep on, and the ESC can be in sport mode as well. And we have the same driving mode as in the Polestar 4. It can be performance or range. So I guess it does the same thing. When you have cruise control on, it will turn that off. And what I have already seen, like I said before, in assist, at pilot assist, here it says steering support. So if I turn this off, it doesn't steer itself. We have to see if I can turn it off on the steering wheel itself. And I want the lane change assist, and we have this, and the speed limit warning, and the lane keep warning, and everything is here. But let's drive a bit, see how the steering is, how the suspension is, how everything works. How does it feel like to drive this car? What does it feel like? Sorry. Then we go on a highway, see the noise level, and then accelerate a bit, and also try to drive the top speed of 210, I think. We'll see. Yeah, right away I noticed, just driving 100 meters, this is complete difference to the Polestar 4. This is way more comfortable. The steering is lighter and feels better for me. I like lighter steering better. It's just very, very interesting that a manufacturer makes 2 cars that are so completely different in so many things. From battery, motor, screen, software even. And then steering and suspension. So when I go over those tiny bumps here in the Polestar 4, this was not comfortable. You felt everything. Here, this is nice. This is my thing. Totally my thing. So cruise control works really nice. I can turn off the self-steering, but I have to go into settings, assist, pilot, and then here off and on, and it works. I cannot find where I do the distance. I pressed every button. I can't find it. When I press here, I have the Google Maps in here, or the car, or nothing. So there was something missing in the Polestar 4, now there's something missing in the Polestar 3. Even in the settings I don't find the distance. Huh, interesting. But I can turn on and off the cruise control with just doing this. I'm sorry, I will repeat myself millions of times. This is so my thing. This is amazingly quiet, comfortable, and it still has the power. Even though I should be in range mode again. Let's see. I had cruise control on. Am I in range mode? No, it stays here with performance. So completely different than a Polestar 4. Oh my God. How are two cars so different? The seat is awesome. The armrests, it's better than in my ID.7. I sit in here more comfortably than in my ID.7. Also the height, the adjustment and everything. What I'm missing would be seat ventilation. This car doesn't have it. I think this is with the material, or it doesn't have the package. It could also be. Let's accelerate. This was 4.24 seconds, but not valid. It's a bit downhill. Now it's valid 4.53 seconds. The power is also, it's amazing. It's a lot of power, but it doesn't come in aggressively where you're like, what the hell? And I don't have control. Awesome. By the way, I tested the sound system, and this has Dolby Atmos, but there's not music that I like and would want to know what it sounds like. But even on Spotify, when I listen to my metal, this sounds good. My benchmark is always Tool Pneuma, because the bass drum and the clearness of the guitar, if it can do that, it sounds great. It's not the best sounding system, but it's a very good one. $130. Nice. It's the complete opposite to the Polestar 4. Polestar 4, I heard a lot of wind noise and barely any road noise. Here, the only thing I hear is road noise, almost no wind noise. But it's 22-inch tires, and this is the performance version. And the performance version is still amazingly comfortable. The normal car must be, wow. At 150, I turned self-steering off and cruise control. Nice, stable, steering is awesome, quiet. I think this is the most quiet I've ever been in at 150, except for the BMW i7. That's the price with comfort. It's not as stable as high speeds, but I prefer this. Rather have comfort than amazing stability at 200. Regenerative braking is good, but as in the Polestar 4, which is nice, when you get off, you don't get decelerated instantly right away, so it's not a sporty feel, but it comes in gradually, so I go off, less, more regen, and that feels good. As yesterday with the Polestar 4, I do the sum up and my opinion on the Polestar 3. Now, again, I only drive this car for a few hours. There's no way I know this car in and out, and I will think something is bad or good, and when I drive it for a week, it could be the exact opposite. I find stuff that's amazing or find stuff that's weird. So take it with a grain of sand, is it like that? Okay, what do I like? I love the stability on normal driving, the quietness, the comfortableness, and the power. It's really good, even though this is the performance version. I have to say it all the time. Usually performance means less comfortable, but this is amazingly comfortable. The cruise control seems to be very good. I cannot find a distance. This is something, again, I could find when I have the car a bit longer, but it's not intuitive to find it easy. So I cannot find resume and I cannot find distance. Screen is awesome, sound system is great. I love to have all the apps. Android Automotive is amazing. My only downside I have with this car, except for what I just said with the cruise control, which I would like to have easily accessible. I'm not a fan that the buttons on the steering wheel are not illuminated. I have no idea what they do, unless, of course, if I own the car for a while, I would know. But I have to find. I don't know how to get the driving data in here. Yesterday in the Polestar 4, it was no problem. There was an extra button here. Today, can't find it. I can switch between Google Maps here. But I cannot see my driving data. But I have three trips which I didn't have in the Polestar 4. So weird. At high speeds, I don't like the car that much. Above 170, it gets a bit moving. Where again, Polestar 4 yesterday was perfect. Was awesome. This was the best car at high speeds I've ever driven. Except maybe the BMW i7, which is just a brick moving like it wants to. Nothing is dealing wind or anything on the road is not dealing with how the car moves. Does something to it. Awesome. So for me, the only downside right now, the software seems also be a bit weird and buggy. There's still stuff not in there that I would want to interact with. I don't know. It's not. It's a need for an update. So the only downsides I have is the cruise control, which I hope they get an update so I can adjust the distance and adjust have resume and maybe turn self-driving off, self-steering off yourself on the steering wheel. Don't have to go into the infotainment system. The positives are big for me. I love how this car drives and handles, except for very high speeds, and that's fine. I don't need to go above 170, and maybe then I get used to it. And the power is awesome, even now in range mode. Yesterday in the Polestar 4, when you floor it, you notice that you are in range mode. You notice that just one motor is doing something. Here, the change is so quick. So when I'm driving 30 and then I floor it, here it is. I notice when the second motor comes, and it's less acceleration from the get-go, from the standstill, with this range mode on, but it comes in, and it still takes a second or so. Then I have both motors and a lot of power. I support this message. I support the Polestar 3. This is a great car. They've done well. This is better than Polestar 2 and Polestar 4. This is my thing. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below, and here on YouTube there's also channel membership. And if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, like this event in the last 4 days, then check out my third YouTube channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.